shit, I'm sorry. I forgot you guys don't speak gorilla. Oh. Well, what's up everybody? I'm Robert. Welcome back to Kids Unboxing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Holy shit, this is cool. So today, as usual, we're going to be reviewing some pretty cool Oh, sorry. So, as you can see, today we're going to be not unboxing. I know this is called an unboxing channel, but it's never unboxing anything. I never unbox anything. That's because I like to open it on my alone time. I'm naked. But today we're going to be reviewing the King Kong statue from 2005 made by Weta. This is an old statue, but it's too good. It's too good not to review. I got this guy yesterday, so I thought, why not make a video about it? I mean, this is what I do, right? But so this guy, he is my favorite design of Kong. I know there's a few designs out there. Obviously, the new Kong movie, there's different iterations of him, the original. But for some reason, this one is like my favorite. I think it's because it's completely, designed off of like a silverback gorilla. He just looks cool. He has the hunchback. I don't remember. I think he's mostly on all fours, which most of the other Kongs, they stand up straight, which is fine. But this guy, his design was so cool that I remember watching it in theaters, and it was like the most amazing, because like back then CGI was like a big thing, or this movie was a big thing in the CGI world because of how good it was, how realistic it was. And even though it was like made in 2005, it still kind of holds up if you look back on the movie. Plus it's obviously like a great movie. I know it's kind of long and some people don't like watching it, but those people can go suck it. It's a really good movie. But yeah, this scene, the way they filmed it in the movie, and it was a completely CGI scene, obviously, which most movies are, but like the way they like captured the battle, oh my god, it was so good, especially like considering there's nothing there, obviously. But he fights off the I think they're considered what are they called, V-Rex? I don't know what the V stands for, but Velociraptor Rex? I don't know. But yeah. So I've been wanting to get a Kong statue for a while. I have a lot of Godzilla stuff, like a lot, like an embarrassing amount. Which eventually, probably in one video, I'll show you guys everything. It's ridiculous, but I think you gotta like change it up a little bit, So I thought, what better way to change it up than get Kong? But I was going to get the Kong versus Skullcrawler. I don't know what the name of this. Yeah, I would assume that's all. It's as simple as that. It's Kong vs. Skullcrawler statue by Prime 1 Studios, which I mean, at some point I probably will get. It's a pretty cool statue, but I found this guy online, for a pretty reasonable price, and I thought, why not? Like I saw the statue a long time ago when it first came out. Obviously, I was too young to be able to afford something like this, but I remember, building that obsession with statues at such a young age. And this was like one of the first things I was like, oh, if I ever had the money, one day I'll get. That one day's coming, or that one day came. And I thought, I can't pass this up. So, what they go for now, I don't know how much it is used. I think brand new is like in the, it's like at least like $1,200, $1,300, something like that. Something ridiculous like that. And I got this guy, semi-used. It's, the guy that I purchased it from. He just like took it out of the box when he first bought it in 2005 and just displayed it. And like, trust me, it looked displayed. Like, it was dusty as hell. But other than that, like, there's no issues wrong with it for like $500. And I couldn't pass it up. So I got this guy. And wow. I mean, you could tell it's an old statue. The techniques into building models has changed a lot. Like, this is completely, I wouldn't say completely, but it's mostly solid. It's heavy. Like, I've purchased a lot of statues, like that Godzilla, the X Plus Godzilla I reviewed a couple videos ago. That thing is like big, but it's light because it's vinyl. If you don't know what vinyl is, it's like a rubber, I guess, like a tar. It's like it dries after it cools. So like if you heat it up, you can like melt it. But it's a rubber. But this is like a rigid plastic, and it's solid. Like if it's not solid, it's at least like mostly solid because it's heavy. But you could tell but it's cool because there's history within the creation of making like statues. Like you could tell this was made a while ago. Even like the base, the design of it. It's simple, but it's clean and it's different. The Prime one, they go crazy with the bases, making all this little display stuff. And the way they did this was pretty unique, nothing crazy with the bottom. It's just it looks like kind of like a brick, I would assume, from like their structures, the Indian structures or whatever, the native structures. And then you have like this little piece of land that they kind of like sculpted on and painted, which he is stuck onto by little like metal rods. That's what holds him up. And oh my god. So let's see how I'm gonna go about this. So I'll probably tell you. So this is how I'm gonna do it. Like in all my videos, I'm gonna give you the good things I like about it, which is obviously my opinion. If you don't like it, go suck it. And then towards the middle, I'll say the negative things or the things that are kind of about it. And then at the end, I'll give you a rating out of 10 of what I think about the figure. So let's start with the good things. Now I'm over here. So starting off, I hope you guys can see me. It's gonna be a lot of me just playing hide and go seek. But to start off with the good things, oh my god, there are good things. First off, he's heavy. Like he is a very like solid piece, which is cool because what I like about statues is when it's gonna last a long time. Obviously paint like chips away and but you can always go back in and retouch up if you're really good at it. But he's solid. I keep saying he's solid, but I don't completely know, so I'm not gonna stick to that. But he's super heavy. You could tell he's very high quality piece. Weighs at least 50 pounds, maybe more, maybe a little less. But yeah, I love that about it. Because it's meant to build to last. And, that's what I love about statues. I love when statues are meant to last. Because obviously you want it to last as long as you can. You spend a frick ton of money on it. You'd like it to last for a while. Another thing, the sculpture on it. Obviously, back then, they didn't have, the ability to, find the, the digitally used model for the movie and then print it, pose it, print it. And then you got a statue, it's super, I wouldn't say super easy, but it's a little bit more convenient. This is all referenced and then hand sculpted. And to see this amount of detail, whoever went in and had to sculpt all this and work through all this, man, they put in some hours. Because just sculpting the fur on Kong alone is ridiculous, let alone all the scales that run all over the V-Rex. Is insane. Even the base, the base I'm not going to crap too much about yet, but I'll get to that in a second. But the amount of detail that's on this, for it being so old, obviously 2005 for a lot of people is not that old, but it kind of is, especially for for statues. That's a long time ago, when you couldn't really make a good quality statue, which there has been, obviously. Sideshow has done a few that are, decent from it being back in the day, but this one, the amount of detail is just insane. The posing, the posing is so dynamic. It's crazy. His butt cheek is clenched to the max back here. It's crazy. The way he's turned. There's so much momentum in him just lifting this V-Rex up in the air. Even in his toes, you could see on the farther ends of the toes, they're just grasping for whatever they can grab so he doesn't slide under. like, and then like up here, he's just holding on as tight as he can. It's just it's so cool that all the little details they took into consideration. Like, I think his belly button's right here. There's a little dimple right there. I think that's his belly button. So like you could see how much like torque he has just to pick this up, and you really get the sense of like weight and strength in this statue. I'm going to turn it towards you guys because you can see I've been looking at this for hours already, so I don't need to look at it anymore. But like even in his muscles, like the way they change shape because one's like pushing and the other one's pulling. It's really cool, especially like, and then in the V-Rex, his it's obviously like they're using the structural skeleton of like probably a T-Rex or whatever, but the muscles on him, like you feel the weight, like in the paws, or what would it consider his little feet, all that cushion under here. You can see it like when it's in the air, it's kind of like dangling. He has that little like thick layer of like flesh that's kind of like if you were to put like your paw right here or your hand, but you can't really see it, but like you have like more weight like hanging down as to you being like this, and it's like kind of flat. I know you can't really see on a human hand, but like in here, like it being such like a meaty like animal, it's just cool, like the little details. You have this little tendons stretching out right here. His tongue it's just like, look at that. Yeah, it's just really cool. Kong's roar, even though it's like kind of like hidden away within the piece, which it's not hidden away, but it's not like a super prominent feature about the base. But his face is just the way they sculpted it. It's so great. The roar, it's really beautiful. And you see all the little like tendons stretching as he like pulls his chin up. And like that's just like all those little things that most people I mean a majority of people can appreciate them, especially if they're spending tons of money on statues. They know what they want. But like if you don't notice those things, like it kind of sucks because there's so much time put into those little details just to give you the overall look. And with this piece, it does that. All those little details, it adds up and it gives it this overall like beautiful look to it. This like how I kind of view statues is like a moment in time. Like a moment in a movie that they just like cut out, they like screenshot cut out, and they put it on display. That's what I love about statues. When a statue can give you that effect, where it's like a moment in time, it's just like the best. And with this statue, like it really feels like a moment in time. And like it's just such a cool piece to have. Yeah, capturing a moment in time it's a real big deal for me as far as statues go. Like the X Plus Godzilla. What I loved about that is, even though it was so simple, because they don't want to do like this crazy pose, which I understand. It would have been cool, but even for it being like kind of like just still, you could see it like walking. It has like 1 foot forward. It has a little turn in its body. It has the tail has like a little momentum in it. Like you can feel it kind of like in movement, like you kind of like stopped it in motion. And that's like, even like when it comes to like just being like a traditional sculptor, when you're like posing a statue, you always want to give it that, not the before pose, not the after pose, but the in between pose. If I was gonna go lift a cup up, and you wanted to sculpt that, you wouldn't sculpt when it's on the ground, and you wouldn't sculpt when it's off the table. You would sculpt it in between, because that gives it life. That it doesn't feel posed. And with this one, it doesn't feel posed at all, and I love it. Plus, the movie was freaking awesome. So having a piece like this is like, it's fantastic. Plus, like, the prices on this is like ridiculous right now, which I kind of understand, but I just haven't like seen a lot of like hype for this kind of movie. in such a long time. Obviously, it was made a long time ago, but considering like that last Kong movie that came out, so it's like I get it's gonna be a part of the Godzilla verse, the monster verse, whatever the hell they're calling it now, but this movie really goes underappreciated by a lot of people because first off, people don't like our generation doesn't have a high attention span, so long movies like that are very like boring, I would guess. Like I know directors have to deal with constantly having to keep people entertained every second of it, or else people kind of just like drag on and their mind like travels elsewhere. But this movie was so like it took its time, and especially in like the director's cut, the extended version, the movie just it takes its time and it's beautiful throughout all of it. Kong is just fantastic. Even the CGI, it still kind of holds up, but the movie's great. And having a piece like this is like super exciting, especially for someone that loves collecting, the classic monsters. Kong is definitely one of my favorites. Probably a little. I probably enjoy him a little bit more than Godzilla, but not by a lot. I love Godzilla, especially with the new stuff they're doing with him. It really gets you a little bit more excited. But I definitely love Kong a little bit more. That's why I was so upset with the way they butchered the last movie. I know a lot of people like it, which I get it. Cool design, cool actors, cool cinematography. But the storyline, I know that they can't copy the King Kong storyline because what was that? I get it. I get why a lot of people like it. But like considering like it's not. Considering, but it's technically not King Kong. It's Kong, because King Kong is owned by Universal, I believe, and Kong is owned by Toho? I'm not sure. I'm an idiot. But it's two different characters. Like that's the only way they were able to get him into the MonsterVerse was to change his style. He's not on all fours. He's reddish. Like he kind of has like this reddish, amber tone to his fur or his hair. And then obviously he's like massive. His name's Kong, but instead of like King Kong. But so it's not really like the same character. So I like it, and I like technically to some people it is considered like the same, but it's not. And then the movie. On top of the movie not being as interesting, because I think it was just like poor. My opinion was like poor casting. Some of the actors. No, it's not poor casting. It's they chose good actors. I mean, minus Brie Larson, but like other than that, like Samuel Jackson. What's the other guy's name? There's like 3 of them in the Marvel universe, but Tom whatever. But they like the roles they played kind of didn't fit the characters. I felt like they could have like done more use with a lot of the characters instead of like turning them into a like Samuel Jackson, turning them into like a psychotic bad guy. You know what? I'm getting off topic. Yeah. With this statue, I know I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoy my rants. But so that to say, Samuel Jackson, his character was freaking weird. All the other characters were freaking weird. I think Tom whatever was the only guy that played like a sane person. Brie Larson, I don't give a shit about her. But like other than that, everyone else was like crazy in that movie, which was weird. But getting back to this guy. Now, okay, so good things about it. Obviously, I pointed out, good sculpt, good dynamic sculpt. Same thing, sculpt. Uh, what else did I say? I forgot. So, yeah, that's the good things I have to say about this sculpture. Now, the bad things. Which, getting into the bad things, you're digging yourself a hole, because if you want to dwell too much on those little negative things, it's gonna cripple you from going out of your way to purchasing this statue, which I think you should, and I think you should overlook the negative things. But let's get to the negative things before I make a decision for you. So, negative things. First off, the paint job. So, I understand most statues, or most companies, when they're mass producing their statues, it has to be kind of quick and simple. But this one is a little, I don't know, like, there's something about it. Obviously, it's an old statue, so maybe the techniques have changed. But when you look at the box has obviously the master copy, which is like the statue they paint in-house, and then they send that out, and the company in China uses that as reference, and they have like a paint palette to like layer it exactly. But when you look at the box, and this is why I feel so strongly about the paint job, when you look at the box and you look at this statue, there's a huge difference. Obviously, you see it most in the V-Rex as to Kong, because Kong's just a black, fur ball. But in the V-Rex, the paint job is pretty, like, random. I know when you see it in the camera, you kind of see, like, the top is, like, shaded darker, it kind of travels into the head, and the bottom's kind of like this lighter beige. But up close, when you really pay attention to it, it doesn't look like they were looking for shadowing, because on, like, the thigh especially, they kind of, like, painted on, like, they, like, kind of, like, added the scales in a uniform way. Like, they didn't darken any, like, divots where, like, the muscle is. There's the high points of the muscles, and then there's the low points of the muscles. None of the low points are shadowed, which is kind of weird, because it takes away, like, the form of him. The back looks like a alligator back, and it looks pretty good. Like, I have no issues with that, but there's also, like, no way you can really get that wrong, especially because, I mean, when you look at it, it's just gray with beige washes in between, but I would assume it's a beige layer first and then gray, brushed on over that. But then when you get to more of, like, the looser skin, the more loose skin, it gets a little, like, bland. Like, at the bottom, it's, like, completely beige, no paint. And then when you're trying to transition, because the statue is connected, if you didn't know, right in between there, the V-Rex connects to Kong. And there's not a good transition, because the paint is so two-toned. It's, like, almost white and black. So trying to transition those two colors together, it comes out kind of weird. And, if they would have added more shadowing and, more cleaner line, maybe it would have looked a little bit better. But that just goes to show, like, the attempt on painting the V-Rex is very, like, quick and very sloppy. Like, you could even see, like, a lot of, like, imperfections in painting the knuckles on his feet. If you see right there, like, it's a very harsh, like, dark brown to, like, looks like a dusty, dirty beige. And then you see, like, missed paint strokes. Like, it looks just kind of sloppy. But like I said, this is an old statue, so the techniques obviously have changed when making statues, or when mass producing statues like this. But those are little things. It's kind of like a big deal for me, at least. Like, the attention to detail when painting it isn't really there. And then Kong, you can't go wrong with Kong. Kong looks great all around. I'm glad they kept him simple and they didn't try to do anything crazy with it. He does have, like, these kind of, what I would assume is, like, dirt spatter on him. And the V-Rex has a little bit of it. And the dirt spatter, at first I was like, oh, it's chipping. And then I look on the box and, obviously it looks way better, but you understand what it is at that point. And then you're like, oh, so it's just crap. It's not chipping, it's just a crap paint job. which kind of bummed me out. But once you see it and once you understand what it is, like, it doesn't really bother you. But the paint is, the attention to detail in the paint is pretty minimal. And then the base. Can't breathe. I'm talking too much. The base, yeah. So the bottom, obviously, like, the plaque is cool and all. But once you get to, like, the little, like, decor, the sculpt is nice. Well, I would assume the sculpt was supposed to be nice. But they kind of painted it all like a two-tone green. Like a light green, which is almost yellowish, and then a dark brownish green, or like an army green. And I think they painted the green on, like, the wrong areas, because down here where he's grabbing, I believe that's rock. And it's green. Like, it looks funky, but maybe, it's moss or something, I don't know. But it really does look like it should have been like a gray, rock. Like a rock. It should have looked like rock. And I think that would have broke down the base a little bit more, because it looks like a blob. A big, like, poop. A big poop he's stepping on. And I think those little, like, grays, if they would have broken down, I sound like I'm like, ooh. Those little grays would have broke down the base and would have made it look a lot more. There would have been, like, a lot more to it. But I mean, it's still cool. Like I said, I don't want you guys. I don't want to discourage anyone from going out there and buying this statue. I think it's a great statue, and you have to understand that it is old. 2005. That's a long time ago. 15 years. It's advanced a lot. The making of statues, the mass production of statues. It's advanced a lot. So that said, the paint is a little rough. The little girl, yeah, technically a little woman, she's a little bland. Like, her hair is, like, yellow, but, like, not like a blonde yellow. Like, it's not like blonde. It looks like it's just too, like, yellowy. Like, it looks fucking weird. Her eyes are, like, super bright blue, so they, like, pop out and they look a little bit bigger. Like, the line for the under eyelid is, like, too low, so she's, like, freaking out. I mean, I would get, like, looking at that. Like, I mean, that makes sense. But it's almost a little bit too much, where she looks kind of like an anime character. Her dress is, it's simple. It has, like, this pinkish salmon, tint with, like, trimming of, like, silver, like, painted trimming at the edges. So it's not completely bad, but it doesn't, like, it's not great. So, yeah, like, I would say just the negative things I have about this entire statue is the paint job. The sculpt is great. It's beautiful. The sculpt is beautiful. So even though the paint job isn't the greatest, the sculpt is beautiful. And it is, like, amazing. Like, I can't stress how great it is. And plus, it's, like, massive. I forgot the scale of this thing, but it's massive. Like, it's not as big as the Kong versus Skullcrawler, which I do believe they took reference from this statue. I mean, it's kind of obvious. But also, like, if this is such, like, a great pose, like, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't want to copy it. But it is a little bit bigger than the Skullcrawler. I believe the Skullcrawler is probably, like, maybe, like, 8 inches taller. Or maybe a little bit more, I don't know. But, it's a good substantial piece. If you could get it for a good price, I would say try to get it under, like, $600. Otherwise, I honestly don't think it would be worth it. Just because something's old. Like, I know that the older it gets and the more high demand there is for it, the price goes up, which kind of sucks. But I mean, if you're into, like, flipping toys, I mean, or statues, I mean, it is a good, like, industry to get in. But it kind of bugs me as, like, a statue collector, because something that's, when it was first released, that was worth probably, like, $300 because this was like 15 years ago is now like, 1,500. So if you could get it with under 600, I'd say it'd be worth it. As far as like cleaning it goes, I just use a little bit of like Endust, like a little unduster spray. I just went in with like a Q-tip and little like microfiber rags, so I didn't like scuff up the paint in any way. And with the spray, I sprayed on the rag and just like kind of like lightly like brushed it off. But it does need some touching up because it is obviously 15 years old, but not a lot. So if you can find one in good shape that doesn't need a lot of work, that doesn't need a lot of undusting, I would say try to get it with under $600, and that would be worth it. I do recommend this, especially if you are a 2005 Kong fan. This movie was great. So if you're still interested, definitely check eBay or OfferUp or some of like the secondhand websites where you can find like good deals like that. But yeah, this is definitely going to be one of my favorites in my collection, right next to my Godzilla. Godzilla's plural, because I have tons of them. But I did get another figure not too long ago, which I am going to show off. Probably either this Wednesday or next Sunday. I usually try to post Sundays, Wednesdays, but if I do miss any day, it's going to be a Wednesday, just because of work. But if I don't get around to it, I do have another video of another Kong that's coming up. Hope you guys will enjoy that one, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, worth it. If I was going to rate this figure, I would give it a 9 out of 10. But this is a high standard 10. This is like, especially for this scale, man. Like 10's got to be, top of the notch. And because it is old, it does have, its flaws. So I can't give it a perfect 10. I'd give it a 9 though, definitely. What saves it is the sculpture, which is everything in a statue. So if you do find one, go get it. My name's Robert. I do this as a hobby. I'm addicted. So please subscribe to support my addiction. Comment down below if you want me to buy anything to review, because I will freaking buy it. I will freaking buy it, trust me. If 10 people support me in my addiction, that's crazy, because I will buy it. So, that said, please subscribe. I need it. Leave a like so I know that you like my crap. And if you don't, well, I don't give a shit about you. Yeah, that's my channel. This is my video. Obviously, that's why I'm here. That's why I make this shit. This is my video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys can subscribe, leave a like. I said that a million times. I'll see you guys Wednesday or next week. I don't know. Peace.